Good morning, friends. It's good to be here today. We're going to keep pretty close to our regular program today. We have some shared breathing, and I might go into a little bit of contemplation on some things I've been thinking about, but I might just sit in silence with you today. Sometimes silence is exactly what we need to hear. So, this is Journey Home Meditation. For those listening out there, you can watch us live on Substack or YouTube each morning at 8:30. So all of that out of the way, I will say that I am happy to be here today. And I'm sad, and I'm experiencing waves of anxiety, and I am walking with a limp this morning. So all of those things are happening at the same time. And the practice is becoming so relevant in these moments. So I'm very grateful to be here on this pillow in this meditation hall, and I am very happy to be here sitting with others. Let's just have a few moments. So finding our meditation posture is the practice of seeking balance. So if you're seated on the floor on a mat or cushion or pillow, you might be sitting with legs crossed. I recommend a pillow of some sort underneath your bum. It just really helps to align the spine a little bit more. But everybody's body is different. So find what works for you. If you're seated in a chair, placing your feet flat to the floor and bringing your knees together gently. All of these little ways of adjusting our body, adjusting our posture, it adjusts our position in life, our position in this moment. And the body is a pretty amazing repository of memory. The body remembers a lot. It remembers really good things. Think of the feeling you get when you watch a video, even of somebody maybe on a roller coaster. You get butterflies in your stomach, and it's For me, it's fun. For you, it might be absolutely terrifying. But the body remembers feelings of fear and pain and anxiety. And we begin to hold ourselves into position. Oftentimes, that position is a position of shrinking. If you are feeling threatened, you might close down. And our mind is really rational. It wants to create reasons for things. And oftentimes, the reasons that it wants to create are these ways to maybe avoid the pain that we're feeling, the true pain we're feeling, or the discomfort or the anxiety or the fear, because of shame or because of a belief that we are not supposed to feel those things, that somehow this is wrong, this is an aberration, this is not the way I'm supposed to be. So we creatively move through all of the other ways to rationalize what it must be. And we do this by holding our body into positions and thinking, oh, I just sit this way because it's comfortable. Yeah, of course. Of course, it's comfortable to not be uncomfortable. But when we enter into the practice of opening ourselves, it's really what this is. It's all this is. We can understand that changing my posture, the way that I am posturing in the world, my position, can change my perspective. And doing something that might be a little uncomfortable is a welcoming in of something very new and touching into something very old. So it's this great moment of yoga, this great moment of unity that can come. So we'll find balance in our body. Straightening the spine as much as is comfortable. We don't want to cause harm. But there's a difference between discomfort and harm. Bringing your shoulder blades together gently in the back can open your chest and open your heart. Palms facing upward is a really gentle way to roll those shoulder joints to just facilitate the opening. Chin level. And just feel what it is to sit in this moment. And let's take a few breaths together. We're going to breathe in through our nose to the bottom of our bellies. And when we breathe out, you can breathe out of your nose or your mouth. But breathe out gently, slowly, and entirely. There's nothing that we need to hold on to right now in this moment. This is the time we are being asked to let go. So let go of all of that breath. Don't be afraid. Let the body do what the body does. Breathing in through the nose. And out. Breathing in. and out. And in. And out. Take your time. Allow your attention to wander through your body. Feel the breath moving in. Feel how the breath, once it moves into the body, starts to separate out the elements that are needed and the elements that aren't, and moves through your blood. And follow that feeling, that energy that pulses through you, that electricity that is coming right from your heart and moving through your body. Just explore. A few years ago, and I may have shared this story before. I have a spot of tea. That was very Welsh of me. My grandmother would be proud. A spot of tea. A few years ago, pardon me. Thanks to the fire. When COVID first began, I was, like most of us, finding myself with a bounty of free time. And I decided at that moment that I was going to try to use this moment in time to return to my body and return to a health practice of strengthening my body and getting to know my body better. So I began rising before the sun each morning and doing morning yoga outdoors. And I had a really strong discipline of this. Um, and it felt good, particularly because I have had a lot of experience over the last 15 years or so with not being able to use my body for long periods of time because of different disorders. And so I was really stepping in to this place of deep security that I felt. I felt like this deep security in my body and in my practice, getting stronger, being able to push the limits of what I thought my body was going to be able to do, at age 42, and exceeding those things. And it felt really good. There was a lot of dopamine hits that I was receiving in my mornings. And as I started to build strength and build confidence, I started to notice that little things were coming into my awareness. Now, I've always had, uh, well, we all always have thoughts, right? I've always had this tendency to go into this sort of internal space for introspection pretty easily. I'm pretty comfortable going there, and so um, I spend a lot of time sort of studying um, my pain or my motivations for fear. And so thoughts would come up, and as I got stronger, I would uh, be able to study the deeper ones and deeper ones. And I was feeling pretty good. And then one morning, I sit and I do my practice, and I finish the practice going into uh, what we call in the American vernacular child's pose. This is a position of safety and of surrender. This is providing feelings of security and relaxation. Right? Those things are really closely connected. Being able to feel safe and being able to relax are very much the same thing. Um, so many of us spend most of our day not being able to relax because there's a small feeling of unsafety still that we carry. So I'm in this position, and I start having these really big thoughts that turn into these deep, fully embodied memories, and I'm actually witnessing. I can see clearly. Even right now, closing my eyes and sharing this story, I can picture what I was seeing, and I was having memories of a young me um, being awoken um, by my stepmother, and she was hitting me with shoes. She was throwing things at me to wake me up, hitting me in the face, and this was her regular practice. It was about 5:36 in the morning before she went to work, and she just needed to yell at me each morning about something that I did wrong. Every time I was at my father's house for that weekend, uh, that was my morning ritual. So most weekends I would try to stay at friend's house, but this morning I didn't, and she awakened me, and she's yelling at me, and um, I started being able to hear the words she was saying, and it's not that significant, except for to say it's actually quite significant. Scratch that. It's very significant. The words that were being said are extremely significant. Um, she's yelling at me about the accusations that I ate all of the snacks that were in the kitchen, and those were for her daughters. And I was really selfish, and I shouldn't have done that. And I'm not welcome to the snacks any longer, and all these things. I look over to my right in the memory, and I see my 8-year-old son is watching this. My son at this time was 14, but I see him there, and he's hearing these words, and it's actually me that's saying those words to him this time. As I remember uh, he ate a whole bag of Oreos in one night after we went shopping, and we woke up the next morning, and he'd eaten the whole bag over the night. And he's 8 years old, of course. Uh, Something took over me, and without my ability to filter or carry it, I said those things to him. You're so selfish. Why would you eat all of the snacks? Those aren't just for you. And I didn't stop until he was crying. And then I broke down, and I didn't understand why I had said those things. And I'm talking to Angela, and confused. I have no intention of hurting my son. Why would I do that? And then I go back to the core memory, and then I see to my left, I see this 6-year-old little girl. And my stepmother was a very large person, um, very, very heavy woman, big. Um, and as a kid, that was she could tower over me and overpower me pretty easily. Um, and I see this little girl, and she's about 6 years old, and she's crying, and somebody's telling her, you're so fat, you're so gross, no one's ever going to love you, don't eat so much food, don't get seconds, you don't need seconds, you need to eat less. 6-year-old little girl, and she's crying, and I recognized immediately that that is the 6-year-old little girl of my stepmom. And then it all came together in this great healing for me, um, in that moment, that if I could say to my son the things that I said and it had nothing to do with him, um, then she could say those things to me and it didn't have anything to do with me. Somebody gave her that when she was a kid and she didn't know what to do with it. And I have carried up until age 42, 32 years of my life, I have carried a belief that I wasn't lovable because I could not get my stepmom to love me. And that made it difficult for my father and I to have a relationship, so we didn't. And I've carried that my whole life up to that point. And I had buried that so cleverly into my body that my body was holding that. And it came out in the ways that I loved, and it came out in the ways that I fought, and it came out in the ways that I did pretty much everything because it was so believed, so believed that no evidence could take that belief away. No evidence could. Somebody could tell me over and over again how much they loved me, but I had a belief. Evidence doesn't change belief. That's why it's a belief. And I couldn't have that memory until I had the strength in my body to hold myself in that place long enough to have it. And I couldn't have that strength until I had safety, until I had security. And so I've been working with that since then. And I woke my son up that morning and I told him everything. He's 14 at that time. And I let him know that what I had given to him, it wasn't because of him. And that it's now, unfortunately, his responsibility, but it's also his opportunity to break a cycle. And it's his opportunity to learn how to heal in a way that I didn't know how to when I was a kid. And I said I would be there to witness your healing, but I can't do it for you. And now, today, these last few days, I am really opening deeply into these old memories of pain in my body. And they come with a lot of beliefs. And I just know that I can sit with this today. Because as I find these old things, some of them are buried deep. Um, they're gifts. They're not punishments, and they're not here to hurt me, even if they hurt. They are here to help me fall in love, like I did with that little girl. I fell in love with her. And I forgave my stepmom in that moment. I never called my stepmom. I never told her. It's none of her business. Her healing is not my business. hopefully she will do that someday. She will heal. But in that moment, my forgiveness was about being able to love that little boy and being able to apologize to that other little boy and being able to, in that moment, be fully present in my body with all of the pain and discomfort. That's what forgiveness is. Because when we can be present and when we know we're okay, even when we're all fucked up, that's when we're finding safety. Well, certainly hadn't planned on talking about all that. See what happens when we find some safety? Let's see what Bell Hooks has to say this morning as we work through. Show the picture there. Bell Hooks Appalachian Elegy, Poetry and Place. Now, this started out as a project to work through all 66 of these sequentially.
Michael, I'm sorry to interrupt.
You okay? You okay? Thanks for coming this morning.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah. Started working through this sort of as a way to peruse the landscapes of humanness, because she's written this as a multiple part love letter to the place where she is from. But what it's become is this strange oracular device. Somehow, each morning, the poem tends to align with whatever it is that either I'm personally experiencing or that someone in the meditation sangha here is experiencing. So let's see what we got today. This is a fun part of my morning. It's also a little terrifying because it may have nothing to do with anything, and then I'll just feel silly. But feeling silly is okay. This is number 10. I need a light. Here and there, across and down, treasure uncovered. Remnants of ancient ways, not buried deep enough, excavated they surface. Objects that say some part of me lived here before, reincarnated ancestors give me breath, urge me, live again. Return to familiar ground. Hear our lost people speak. Treasure uncovered, remnants of ancient ways not buried deep enough, excavated they surface, objects that say some part of me lived here before. Reincarnated ancestors give me breath, Urge me, live again. Wow. Thanks, bell hooks. Thank you. Because that's part of body memory. Recognizing what we're learning in the material sciences is spiritual science. We're learning that our bodies are made of all of the same things that all of these other bodies before us passed on to us, right? It comes in, we call it DNA, the makeup of our structure that shapes us, that gives us characteristics and features that are passed on. And it's not just the shape of your nose or the curve of your cheek or the eyebrow or your propensity for chocolate or heart disease or whatever it may be. If it can keep those things, if it can memorize the shape of a face and pass that forward, think of what we hold in our bodies right now. Think of what you're holding in your body right now, what your body is memorized. What does heartache feel like? It feels, you feel it. So if it's feeling in your body, if there's something happening, if there's the body is holding on to that, it knows what that is. It's not new. When you feel it, it's not new. That's what makes it precisely so difficult, because it's so old and you felt it before, you attach it and connect it to the stories that your mind holds on to. So now it's not just heartache for this, it's heartache for every bit of heartache you've ever felt. And if your body can memorize that, just like your body has a memorized shape of your hand, and that's passed on from those before us, then we have memories before us. And when you're in those times, those desperate times, those lonely times, remembering that parts of your body have also experienced this and made it out okay. They still were able to do what they needed to do. So those people that gifted you your body, they also gifted you kindness and grace. And even if you forget how to use grace, it's inside of your body. Remember it. Sometimes we forget. When we get overwhelmed with all of these body memories, these big feelings that come up that are just everything all at once, we become very imperfect. And it's a reason for that. There's a reason we become very imperfect in that moment. Because I believe that we need those moments so that we know that we need others to come in and hold that space for us to flail and fall and flounder and a bunch of other words that start with F. We need that space to be imperfect. We need to burn the toast. We need to spill the cat food. We need to do those things. And sometimes we need somebody else to come along and say, hey, it's okay, buddy. I got this. You go take care of yourself for a moment. You go sit down. Pick out a record. I'm going to just clean this up real quick, and I'll be right in. That is tending. It's not the only way, but I think that my imperfection in these moments is a perfect place to find vulnerability and reach out. just long enough to give me the strength to come back to my body and say, hey, I hold this and I love you. Last night, we were talking about somebody said, I'm my own worst enemy. And it hit me really hard in this way that made me go, I don't want that to be my story. I'm my own best friend. I'm gonna love this person even when they mess up. I'm gonna be next to them in jail. I'm gonna bring over lasagna for a broken heart. I'm gonna be my own best friend. So thanks for being here this morning. This was a long sit, longer than I had expected and planned, and it was a whole lot. Maybe there's something in there that you can connect with. That's the whole point. Openness to invite connection. Thanks for being here. Thank you. I want to let you know I'll be absent from the sit for the next few days. Thursday, Friday, and probably Monday, I will be absent. I'm going to be doing some more traveling. And but there's about, 250 or so, maybe 300 episodes of this that you can go through if you'd like. All right. Thank you again. Howdy Om.